القدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك الإسام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعم. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تقطع الرجاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لكل ذنب أذنبت وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك، فأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك، وأن تؤذئني شكرك، وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع متضرع، أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانيا، وفي جميع الأحوال متواضيا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فأوقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وأدم فيما عند رغبته. اللهم عزم سلطانك وأل مكانك وخفي مكروك وزهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبه غافرا ولا لكبائه ساترا ولا لشيء من عمله القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترت وكم من فاده من البلاء أكلت وكم من إثار وقيت وكم من مكروه دفعت وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرت. اللهم عزم بلائي وأفرت بي سوء حالي وكسرت بي أعمالي وكعدت بي غلالي وحبسني النفع بؤدو أملي وخدأتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها ومطالي يا سيدي. فأسألك بعزتك أن لا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء أملي وفي آلي، ولا تفزعني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري، ولا تواجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملت في خلواتي ومن سوء فعل وإساءتي ودوام تفريط وجهالتي وكسرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور أتوفا. إلهي وربي من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ذري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت في هوى نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تزئيني، وعدوي فغرني بما أحوى وأسده على ذلك القضاء، فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدودك وخالفت بعض أوامرك. فلك الحمد في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك. وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا منصرفا، لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني، ولا مفضأ أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك أدري، وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتك. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة الذر، وفكني من شد وثاقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني وركة جلدي ودكة عظمي، يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري تربيتي وبري وتغذيتي، هبني الابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي، أتراك مؤذب بنارك بعد توحيدك، وبعد ما انثوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك، ولهج بلساني من ذكرك، وأتكده ضميري من حبك، وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعاء خازيا لربوبيتك. هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تزيئ من ربيت، أو تبعد من أدنيت، أو تشرد من آويت، أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمت. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي، أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا، وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقا، وبشكرك ماضيها، وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة، وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشئة، وعلى جوارح سأت إلى أوتان تعبدك طائعة، وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنا. ما هكذا الظن بك، ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم. يا ربي وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها، وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، ألا أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مقصور، يسير بقاء كثير مدة، فكيف احتمال البلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مكامه، ولا يخفف عن أهله، لا أنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو، ولما منها أزج وأبكي، لأليم العذاب وشدة أمر طول البلاء ومدته. فلئن سيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك، وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك، وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وحب أوليائك، وحبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي، صبرت على عذابك، فكيف أصبر على فراقك؟ وحبني صبرت على حر النار، فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك؟ أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجاي عفوك وبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي؟ أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا، لأزجن إليك بين أهلها سجيج الآملين، ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين، ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين. يا غاية أعمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حبيب قلوب صادقين، ويا إله العالمين. فتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك، تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته، وذاك تعمى عذابها بمعصيته، وحبس بين أتباكها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يزج إليك سجيج مؤملا لرحمتك، ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك، ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي، فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك ورأفتك؟ أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك؟ أم كيف يحركه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوتا وترى مكانا؟ أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفا؟ أم كيف يتكلكل بين أتباكها وأنت تعلم صدقا؟ أم كيف تزجره زبانية وهو يناديك يا رب؟ أم كيف يرجو فضلك في إفكه منها فتتركه فيها؟ هيهات، ما ذلك الظن بك، ولا المعروف من فضلك، ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك. فباليقين يقتو لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاهدك، وكزيت به من إخلاد معاندك، لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما، وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما، لكنك تكدست أسماؤك، أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين، وأنت جل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما. أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها، أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمت، وكل ذنب أذنبت، وكل قبيح أسررت، وكل جهل عملت، كتمته أو أعلنت، أخفيته أو أظهرت، وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني، وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جواري، وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خشي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيت وبفضلك سترت، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلت، أو إحسان فزلت، أو بر نشرت، أو رزق بسطت، أو ذنب تغفر، أو خطأ تستر. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك ركي، يا من بيده ناصيتي، يا عليما بزري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك مأمورا، وبخدمتك موصولا، وأعمالي عندك مقبولة، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها بردا واحدا، وهالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي يا من عليه مؤولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، قوي على خدمتك جواري، واشدد على العظيمة جواني، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك، والدوام في اتصال بخدمتك، حتى أسرى إليك في ميادين السابقين، وأسري إليك في المبادرين، وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك الذنو المخلصين، وأخافك مخافة الموقنين، وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فأرده، ومن كادني فقده، واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نسيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك، وجد لي بجودك، وأتف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتك، وأقلني أسرتي، واغفر ذلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بإبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وزمنت لهم الإجابة، فإليك يا ربي نسبت وجهي، وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي، وبلغني منايا، ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي، واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائك، يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء، يا من اسمه دواء، وذكره شفاء، وتاءته غنى، ارحم من رأس ما به الرجاء، وسلاهه البخاء، يا سابغ النعم، يا دافع النقم، يا نور المستوحشين في الظلم، يا عالما لا يعلم، صل على محمد وآل محمد، وافعل بما أنت أهل، وصلى الله على رسول والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. اللهم صل على محمد. سورة الفاتحة.
صلوا على محمد وعلى محمد. صلوا على محمد. शियों का था ये बयां, हाय तकी हाय हाय, शियों का था ये बयां, हाय तकी हाय हाय, हाय माँ में ہائے ہائے شور مدینے میں ہے روتے ہیں سب چھوٹے بڑے شور مدینے میں ہے روتے ہیں سب چھوٹے بڑے ہائے شہ انس و جاں ہائے تقی ہائے 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 شہ انس و جاں ہائے تقی ہائے ہائے آپ کی تھی کیا خطا زہر جو بے دین نے دیا آپ کی تھی کیا خطا زہر جو بے دین نے دیا اے شہ کون و مکان ہائے تقی ہائے ہائے اے شہ کون و مکان ہائے تقی ہائے ہائے شیعوں کا تھا یہ بیان ہائے تقی ہائے ہائے شیعوں کا ہے کون اب ہو گیا کیسا غضب شیعوں کا ہے کون اب ہو گیا کیسا غضب کیوں نہ ہو گریہ کناں ہائے تقی ہائے ہائے شیعوں کا تھا یہ بیان ہائے تقی ہائے ہائے سرور عالی نسب سمجھا نہ وہ بے ادب سرور عالی نسب سمجھا نہ وہ بے ادب آپ کو احمد کی جان ہائے تقی ہائے 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 ماں میں زمان ہائے تقی ہائے ہائے پیٹے نہ کس طرح سے سر مہدی ہے ٹکڑے جگر پھٹک نہ پڑا آسمان ہائے تقی ہائے ہائے شیعوں کا تھا یہ بیان ہائے تقی ہائے 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 ماں میں زمان ہائے تقی ہائے صلوات محمد وآل.
Jazakallah Hussein bhai. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Just one quick announcement before we invite Maulana Saab to come to the member, and that is tomorrow's Jummah Namaz will start at 1 p.m. promptly, inshallah, tomorrow. All Mu'mineen are requested to arrive on time, preferably a couple of minutes beforehand, so we can then start promptly at 1 o'clock, inshallah. Please recite the Surah Fatiha for all our Mu'mineen. Fatiha. We invite Maulana Saab to the member. Bismillah.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وبه نستعين وهو خير ناصر ومعين. الحمد لله الفرد الأحد الصمد الذي لم يلد ولم يولد، ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على سيدنا ونبينا وشفيعنا وطبيب نفوسنا وحبيب قلوبنا، الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرضين بأبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتخبين المنتجبين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من يوم عداوتهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال مولانا محمد التقي الجواد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ما من قبض ولا بسط إلا ولله فيه مشية وقضاء وابتلاء. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. Respected Mu'mineen, first and foremost, I would like to extend my heartiest condolences on the martyrdom of our ninth Mawla, Mawla Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And indeed, when it comes to the wiladat or the shahadat of any of our Imam, our aim and objective is to adopt and to grasp some lessons from their life. And right now, we are in a time which is called Ayyamul Ma'lumat, or in other words, or according to the riwayat, they are miqat time. What is the meaning of miqat time? Miqat time, when Prophet Musa alayhi salam, he goes for miqat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls him to come on the mountain of Tur and receive the revelation from there, receive the Torah according to the riwayat. But some narration says that Musa alayhi salam, he went to receive the law, means shield, whether he's supposed to write down the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyway, so the period of that miqat, or the meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, was 40 days. In beginning it was 30 days, and then 10 days were extended. So the whole month of Dhul Qa'dah and 10 days plus 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, so it become 40 days. So we are in these days. And according to the riwayat of Ahlul Bayt and our ulama, they said these days are the best days, or this time, it is the best time for making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for doing any good deed, because you will reveal tremendous reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you do, any good deed during these 40 days. And of course, last 10 nights or last 10 days are more important than the first 30 days. And because we are approaching to the day of Arafah and the Eid as well, so I was requested by some of our mu'mineen to give some explanation about the Dua ul Arafah. Dua ul Arafah, it is a asad for the Shias, which is left by our Mu'la Aba Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. And in that dua, Imam alayhi salam, he gives, in very beginning, the understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are 20 sentences. There are 20 phrases or 20 qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam al-Hussein, he mentioned in very beginning of Dua al-Arafah. And ulama, they said, if someone understand these 20 sentences of Imam al-Hussein, he would have a complete, not complete of course, he would have enough understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he would be able to understand Allah whom we worship, and whom we bow down, and who is our creator and who is our bestower of the ni'mah. So first sentence, actually it is talking about the qada and qadr. And that is why our ninth Mawla Imam al-Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam has beautifully said, the hadith that I quoted in the khutbah or in my, Arabic sermon. So there Imam, he said, Ma min qabdin wala basatin illa walillahi fihi mashiyatun. There is no up and down in life. Whatever up we have in life, whatever, down fall we have in our life, no matter, we are receiving something from Allah, we are in good situation, or we are in bad situation. Whatever condition we are in, it is out of the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is our faith that, anything happen in our life, it is out of the Mashiach endowment of Allah. Nothing, in this whole universe take place without the permission of Allah. Even Riwayah says, each and every leaves which is fall down from any tree, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows where it is going to fall and where it will be carried by the wind. So everything is in the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Each and everything in this world, in our blood, in our body, whatever is happening, whatever progress or downfall is happening, it is with the permission of Allah, with the endowment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Any molecule we have in our body which is changing, it is, Allah has control on it. This is our aqidah. And we call it qada and qadr. And that is why Imam al-Hussein, in that dua, in first sentence, he says, Alhamdulillahi alladhi. First he is praising to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Laysa liqada'ihi dafi'. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take any decision, nothing can hinder, nothing can stop the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Any decision is taken by Allah, there is nothing in this world, there is no power which can stop Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from his decision. And this sentence, it is a very powerful decision. It is showing the mighty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is showing the authority of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why, when we discuss the qada, this word, is what Imam alayhi salatu wasalam uses over here, he says, Laysa liqada'ihi dafi'. There is, there is no dafi'. Dafi' means the one who stops. There is no dafi' for the qada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the commandment of Allah, for the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah decided anything, no one can stop it. Here ulama, they said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he command or when he order, his order categorized into two categories. Number one category, or number one qada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is called tashri'i. What is the meaning of tashri'i? Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala command us, but it is based on tashri'i, it is based on sharia or jurisprudence, whether Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the ikhtiyar, free will, choice Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. For example, Allah in Quran, He says, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَنْ لَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken decision. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ. It is a commandment, it is a decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or it is an obligation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, أَنْ لَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ, that you should not worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you see in the world, people, there are many people, those who do not worship Allah. There are people, those who worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in second, segment, Allah said, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنَ إِحْسَانًا. It is a commandment of Allah that you have to be good with your parent. But there are people, those who are not good with their parent. So it means, there is a commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which can be breached, which can be, whether Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can be disobeyed. And it is the decision of Allah. This thing, it is made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That Allah give us a choice. Allah give us a free will over here, freedom as well. That whether we, accept the commandment of Allah or we do not accept. Right? And then we have to face the consequences of it. So this is one type of the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second type of the order of Allah, second type of the qada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that no one can stop. No one can betray, no one can breach the commandment of Allah. So, which is this? For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to send down adhab on the nation of Prophet Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam. Was there anyone who can hinder the adhab of Allah? No. If it is, decided by Allah, so this is called al-hukm at-takwini. So over here, no one can, oppose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decision. Or for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometime He decree or sometime He decide or He has a qada in regard of the honor and regard of the, dishonoring someone. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decided to give honor to Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. So there is no one who can humiliate Imam al-Hussein. That is why from day one, Imam al-Hussein is on culmination of the honor. And how many, and even like that, you look at the Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decided the name of Ali has to be up. So you see in history how many governments, the ruler of his time and ruler those who came later, they had tried their level best to bring the name of Amir al-Mu'mineen down. And look at the history of the Muawiyah Abi Sufyan. More than 60 or 70 years, from 70,000 members, Amir al-Mu'mineen used to be cursed. But they were failure in their mission. Why? Because here Allah has decided by His hukm at-takwini that the name of Ali should remain up. Till today, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decided to, humiliate the Yazid. Yazid ibn Muawiyah. Some people, they try, but they are failure in advocating the Yazid. So sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decision is about the izzat, about the honor. So Imam al-Hussein, he said, لَيْسَ لِقَضَائِهِ دَافِعٍ. No one can oppose the commandment and the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the second category. Imam al-Hussein is talking in Dua al-Arafah about it. So this qada and qadr, that the hukm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unchangeable. No one can change the commandment of Allah. So it is called qada and qadr. There is a very huge discourse in the philosophy of the religion that we have to have faith. We have to have iman that qada and qadr, it is there. And if you look at the hadith of our beloved Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam about the importance of this topic, however, very bulky discourse, I'm not going into deep of it, but we have to have faith in it. So look at the hadith. Hadith says, Arba'atun la yanzuru Allahu ilayhim. There are 4 people on the day of judgment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to look at them with mercy. Who are those? Number 1, aqul walidain. Those who are disowned by their parent. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not look at them with the mercy. And number 2, Mudminul khamr, the one who consume the wine or the liquor, intoxicate himself. So such a person on the day of judgment, he is deprived from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And number three, al-mannan. Who is mannan? Mannan means the person who make favor on other, and then he shows his ihsan, he shows his obligation, that he shows his favor, that I have done with you that, you know, that good thing. So this is not permitted. So al-mannan, he is not going to be, blessed with the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. Number four, al-mukadhdhib bil qadr, the one who refute the qada and the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who deny the qada and qadr. Because in the time of Imam AS, there were people, those who are called Asha'ira and Mu'tazila. They used to say that whatever is happening in this dunya, it is all in the hand of human being. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this dunya and then he left aside, and now this whole world is running itself. No, our aqidah, the follower of Ahlul Bayt, they have faith. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after the creation of this universe, is still Allah's hand is there. Endowment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there. So whatever is happening in this dunya, and that is why if you look at the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Rum, verse number 41, He said, Zahar al-fasadu fil barri wal bahr bima kasabat aydin nas liyudhiquhum ba'da alladhi amilu la'allahum yarji'un. What is the meaning of it? Allah says, Zahar al-fasad. What is the mischiefs has appeared in the ocean as well as in the land. And why it has, today we have a lot of tsunami, floods, or sometimes earthquake, or we are having, in whole world. So what Quran is saying, that whatever is happening in terms of the mischief in the land as well as in the sea, it is out of bima kasabat aydin nas. It is out of the reaction what human being does. So it is all based on our actions. If human being commit a sin, so you will see the consequences of it in the ocean. You will see the consequences of it in the land. So this is, it's a very huge discourse. I'm not going to, enter into there in a complicated area. Anyway, so Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam, he said, Alhamdulillah alladhi laysa liqada'ihi dafi'. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decide anything, He does not, there is no one who can stop Him. Why? Because all destiny and the, decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no matter, we like it or we do not like it, it is all based on the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well as based on the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because the ayah says, لَيُذِيقُهُمْ. So we test people the bitter consequences of their action. Why? Mischiefs happen in earth as well as in the ocean. Allah says it is all because of their action. And we want to test them the bitter consequences of their action. So this is the reason. So why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually by these natural disasters, He wanted to, nurture us. He wanted to awake us. He wanted to open our eyes. So we understand that what we are doing, what we supposed to do. So Imam says, Alhamdulillah allazi laysa liqada'ihi dafi'. If Allah has taken the decision, no one can stop Him. And that is why over here, our ulama, they said, if the decision is taken, so Allah's decision is not going to change. But there are some things, those can change the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And according to the hadith, hadith says that there are 5 things. If someone, I'm not mentioning all these 5 because the time is constrained, but only 2, 3. That if some people, they committed sin, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken the decision, now there are certain things which can stop the decision qada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 1, it is as-sadaqah. Someone has committed sin and the decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is made about him and a big atrocity about to fall in him. So what he's supposed to do? If he gives sadaqah, so decision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to change. The qada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be changed. So this is number 1. Number 2, Silatul Raham, according to the riwayat, that if someone does Silatul Raham, his death is delayed. Many times, if we do qat'ur rahim in in our daily life. What happened? Our life is decreased. Even some riwayat, they says 30 year you will have a decrease in your life if you do qat'ur rahim. You do not maintain your tie with your relatives. For example, if you abuse, if you hurt the heart of heart of your relative, it decreased 30 years in your life. But if you do silatul raham, so what happened? That your life is increased. And that is why our sixth Imam, Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam, he says, "Man yamutu bil-dhunubi aktharu man yamutu bil-ajal." In this world, people when they die, Imam say most of the people they die out of their sins. When they commit sin, their death or their life is decreased. If they do not commit sin, if they do good, so their life is extended. So Imam said most of the people in this world here and there, when they die, they do not die according to the decision what is made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They died out of their action and out of their dhunub. We do, qat'ur rahim, so our life is decreased. We hurt the heart of people, our life is decreased. If we do not pay the rights of the people, our life is decreased. So Imam says, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decide to do something, no one can stop him. And that is why our ninth Imam, Mawla Imam Muhammad Taqi Imam Muhammad Taqi alayhi salatu wassalam, he says that whatever up and down we have in our life, it is all has wisdom from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Quran says whatever we do, it is out of our action, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take the decision. So decision of Allah, qada and qadr, whatever we see in this dunya, they are result of our good or bad actions. Now, because it is we are commemorating the shahadat of Imam al-Taqi, so that is why I would like to mention 2-3 points in regard of the Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. When Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam, this Jawad, the word Jawad, it is commonly known among the Arab and Iran. Iran, among Iranian Arab community, they call ninth Imam as Imam al-Jawad. But in India and Pakistan, we call him Imam Muhammad at-Taqi. So this word Taqi, it is famous, more famous in our society, in our community in India and Pakistan. But Jawad is this word or this title of the Imam is famous in Arab and Iran. Anyway, so both of them, they are title of the Imam. However, Imam al-Taqi or Imam al-Jawad, he had many titles, but I will discuss only one title of the Imam. However, the other title, they are very, very important. This title of the Imam, it is given, and not only this, all the titles, those are given to our Imams, they are given them by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have come from there. So that is why we have to, ponder about the titles of the Imam, because the titles of Imam, they are heavenly titles. However, in this dunya also, we are also given titles. And our title also, they have excellencies and they have merit. Why? Because if someone, for example, given the title of Muqaddas, so someone is Muqaddas, it is not like that people, they give him this title out of, without anything. So even in this dunya, when we receive the title, so they have merit. But the Ahlul Bayt, they receive title from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If someone is given title by Allah, of course, his position is very high. So Imam al-Jawad, he was given a title by Allah, that is Taqi. What is the meaning of Taqi? So Taqi meaning is pious. It is the root word of it is taqwa. And the root word of the taqwa is extracted from the word which is called wiqaya. So of course, the first meaning we know. The meaning of Imam al-Jawad, he was given this title by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he is taqi, means he is a righteous, he is muttaqi, he is a person who is having the taqwa. But the taqwa is still, the Imam taqwa is not the same taqwa as me and you have. Imam taqwa, it is a very high level taqwa. And of course, the taqwa of the Imam is a beacon for us. It is a role model for us. It is a path for us. So Imam taqwa, it is a very high level taqwa. But there is another meaning of, why Imam alayhi salatu wasalam was given this title taqwa or muttaqi. Why Imam al-Jawad, why he is taqi. So Sheikh al-Saduq, he has a book which is, about the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. So Sheikh al-Saduq over there, in Ma'ani al-Akhbar, he brought a riwayah. And he mentioned, and when he discussed the word of the taqi, that why Imam al-Jawad was given this word taqi or this title taqi. So he says, one reason, of course, because of the taqwa, because he had taqwa in his life, taqwa of Allah. The second reason, he said, because the meaning of taqi is wiqaya, protection. Because when human being is protected, he is called taqi or he is called muttaqi. So he says, because he is protected from the sin, this is the number one meaning. Number two meaning, he said, لَأَنَّ اللَّهَ وَقَاهُ اللَّهُ مِنْ شَرِّ الْمَأْمُونِ. Because Imam al-Jawad, he was protected from the evil of the ruler of his time. It was Ma'mun al-Rashid and also Mu'tasim. So Imam al-Jawad, because he's protected from the Ma'mun evil, so that is why he is called Taqi. And that is why we see in the history, once upon a time, when Imam al-Jawad was brought from Medina by force to Baghdad. So one day, Ma'mun, what he does, he called Imam. And he said, and he decided himself to kill the Imam. And so he asked for his people to bring the Imam. So when the Imam ﷺ was brought at night, it was night time, and he was drunk. So he said to wrap Imam into a blanket. So these people, they wrapped the Imam into the blanket, and then he hit and he struck on the body of the Imam al-Jawad ﷺ. And then when it is the morning time, when he wake up and when he's out from the intoxication, then he started shivering. He said, before we have killed Imam al-Rada, and now we have killed Imam al-Jawad. Now what the consequences we are going to face, it would be very difficult. So he said to his, one of the workers to go and check how is the Imam al-Jawad. So he goes there, he saw that the Imam ﷺ is reciting the Quran. So it is, here Shaykh al-Saduq, he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has protected Imam al-Jawad from the evil of Ma'mun al-Rashid. So, and also, there are many occasions because time is constrained and I have to conclude over here. So Imam al-Jawad always, his honor is protected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His haiba is protected by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that is why he is called at-Taqi. And Imam al-Jawad, among the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, you find that he had only 25 years in his life. When he was only 25 years old, Imam al-Jawad, he was given poison by his own wife, al-Fadl. Because al-Fadl, she was the daughter of Ma'mun al-Rashid. Ma'mun al-Rashid, by force, he married his daughter with the Imam al-Jawad, and he had complicit before, behind it, to have sharp eye on the activity of Imam and to murder the Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam easily. And that is why Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam, he was given poison by his own wife. And it is very difficult. You just imagine if someone's wife betray, if someone's wives, become the enemy of a person, it becomes very difficult for a person. Why? Because he find nothing, he find no one to share his thing. And that is why you see in history, we have another Imam, and that is Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba, who was even given poison by his wife, whose name is Ju'da bint Ashas. Ju'da bint Ashas also gives poison to her husband, Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba. But dear mu'mineen, there is a difference between both the Imam. Both Imam, they are given poison by their wife. When Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba was given poison by his wife, Ju'da bint Ash'as, Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba, he was in his own town. He was in Medina. But when Imam al-Jawad was given poison by his wife, he was not in his own town. He was a gharib. He was in Baghdad. When Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba was given poison, at least Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba, he had his sister all around him. Bibi Zainab, she was there. Kulsum, she was there. When Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba was vomiting out of the poison, so Bibi Zainab, she was caring and looking after the Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba. But Imam Imam al-Jawad when he passed away, when he has consumed the poison in Baghdad, there was no sister for the Imam al-Jawad. And likewise, if you see the history, when Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba was writing on the bed, there was Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, there was Abul Fazil Abbas, but Imam al-Jawad, he is all alone. He does not have any brother who can look after him. Even at the time of Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba, Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba, he had all his son all around him. Hazrat Qasim was there, Abdullah ibn Hassan was there, and Hassan al-Musanna as well, he was there. And Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba alayhi salam, all the time he is loving and he is looking at his son. But Imam al-Jawad in Baghdad, he is all alone. He had one son, he was in Medina, who was not able to look after his father. Narration says, when Imam al-Jawad alayhi salatu wasalam was having his last breathing, he was writing on his bed and he was crying and he was screaming out of the pain. At that moment, you know what the Fazl, the wife of Imam al-Jawad, does to Imam? She locked Imam al-Jawad in a house and she asked from her kaneez, she asked from her servants to sing around the room and make some noises and clapping. Why? Because she doesn't want the voice of Imam al-Jawad goes out from the room. So this was happening. There was a kaneez of Imam al-Hasan al-Mushtaba and the kaneez of Fazl. She felt pity on Imam al-Jawad. She said, I went out and I brought the water for Imam al-Jawad, because Imam al-Jawad at that moment, he was asking for the water. So this kaneez, she felt pity and she brought and she offered the water to Imam al-Jawad. But before Imam al-Jawad, he takes water, the Fazl, she comes and intervene and she took the water from the hand of Imam al-Jawad and she throws on the ground. Imam al-Jawad, when he left dunya, he left with thirst. He left with, pain. I would say to Imam al-Jawad, Ya Imam, it is very painful for you to leave this dunya in the state of thirst. Ya Imam al-Jawad, your musibah, it is great, but come to the Karbala. At least in Baghdad, someone had offered to you a water. But look at the Imam al-Hussein. Imam al-Hussein, he said, Shi'ati mahma sharibtum ma adbin fadhkuruni. Oh my Shia, whenever you consume water, whenever you drink cold water, remember my thirst. And there was nobody who can offer water to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. And that is why you see in the history, after the martyrdom of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, there is no one who can send news to the tents of Ahlul Bayt that the Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam departed from this dunya. But there was an animal, there was a horse of Imam al-Hussein who had this sense, and what does he do? He comes and he stains his forehead from the blood of Imam al-Hussein, and this horse, it goes to the tents of Abu Abdullah and start making noise over there. When the women of Ahlul Bayt realize, they get out from the tent and they looked at the face, or they looked at the forehead of the horse, that there is a blood of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. At that moment, the daughter of Imam al-Hussein, whose name is Sakina, she is only 4 years old. She comes and she sits in front of the horse and she said, Ya Jawad Abi, the horse of my father, I know that my father has departed the dunya. My father is martyr. Just tell me, Asuqiya Abi am Qutila Atshana. Is my father, when he departed from this dunya, was given water or not? Or my father departed this dunya in the state of thirst? وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. اللهم إني أسألك باسمك العظيم الأعظم العز الأجل الأكرم. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. اللهم تابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات إنك منزل البركات وإنك على كل شيء قدير. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all the hajat of our mu'mineen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give shafa those who are sick. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to inculcate the teaching of Imam al-Jawad into our life. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to nurture our children in Islamic and Ahlul Bayt way. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help and support those who are oppressed in the world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eradicate the Zalimeen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fill this earth with the justice. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reappear the Imam صاحب العصر والزمان أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordain us among his support and the Ansar. وآخر دعوان الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين صلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولله الحمد. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا ولي الله. صل على محمد وعلى محمد. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وابناه المعصومين حجج الله. اللهم صل على حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم اجعل قلبي بارا وعملي سارا وعيشي قارا ورزقي دارا وأولادي أبرارا واجعلني عند قبر نبيك محمد المصطفى صلى الله عليه وآله مستقرا وقرارا. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله